how this sounds. I don't know how it sounds yet, so hold on. Let me do some business. Well, that's nice. It's real nice. All right, hello. Can anyone hear me? Sorry, there was some leaf blowing nonsense going on outside. Okay, cool. I just did another sound test, so if you hear feedback, that's me. Okay, let's see what we got here. Gotta get the chat up and running, so if there's anyone saying anything right now, I can't see what you're saying. Sorry. There we go. Alright. See what I can do here. Excuse the noise. Okay. Oh. Hey, PR, how's it going? Okay. Gonna do another real quick sound test, and then we'll get started. Okay, sounds good. Let me show you guys something that I've been working on, and I'm actually really excited about this. Before we get started, well, yeah, technically before we get started, but still, let me show you guys something I think you'll all really enjoy. This is, how should I say, what is this? This is something that can be used for future streams. I have a stream planned very soon that could utilize this, and I know Ridley's stream could definitely benefit from this too. So, let's see here. I know I'm keeping you in suspense, but just give me a moment. It'll be worth it. Promise. some weird stuff. Okay, here we go. Come on, OBS. Let's not be disobedient. There we go. I don't actually know if that did anything, but just in case. I don't know if like removing that, I don't know if the music was continuing to go over the gameplay. So just in case. Okay. So this is the thing. We could use it during this stream. We don't have to use it during this stream. I don't think it's worth using for a reason I'll explain in a second. But let me just show you what I have worked on. And it actually works. So, I'm going to be over here, so I'm going to be kind of a distant voice for a second. But check this out. So I actually have a death counter actually working now. So, if I were to press like a hotkey, something that I've done, and the reason why it's not so necessary for this game is probably because Pikmin already kind of has a record part of the game, so it's not necessary because Pikmin already retains that information. Oh, game volume is drowning me out. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't actually know that was happening. My bad. So what was I saying? So anyway, you might have seen a second ago there was a death counter. So that's I've been working on that for a while. So yeah, there is a death count. I don't know if you can hear me, but if you can, I'm just going to keep explaining this like you can. We can use it for this stream. It's a working death counter, but I don't really see a point in it other than just like, oh, live, feedback on that, because Pikmin actually retains those records just by itself. The game already keeps record of how many deaths you have, so how many Pikmin you lose, etc. So I never actually, I don't know, I don't think that's necessary for this stream, but for Ridley's stream, as well as other streams that we have planned in the future, I think it would probably be more useful in other areas. So we could use the death counter in this game if you want, but I don't honestly see its value now. I just basically did a mock-up just to show you how it works. I can just press a hotkey and then boom, it's ready. So if you want that, then we can do that. But if not, then I'll keep that. I'll keep that death counter on hand for when I actually do use it. But anyway. Is my voice still being drowned out, by the way, or is this? Take a shot every time a Pikmin dies. Alright, so this is kind of a weird setup. Because I do need to be pointing at the screen, but there's a lot of just crap in front of me. But we'll figure it out. Okay, so as far as I know, so this is a finished. I don't know if they're all finished. We'll just create a new one. Whatever. I might be deleting something I shouldn't. But okay. Let's get started. Should I be reading this? I usually read this kind of stuff. I mean, this is basically just recounting Pikmin 1's events. He's flying through space, he's part of a freight company, which just delivers space packages, basically. It's just space UPS. And then he crashes on the planet, and then he comes back, but while he was gone, the company kind of went down the hole, and now they're in financial debt, and all sorts of good stuff like that. President, and then that's Louis. Don't worry, if you think he's actually saying words, he's not. This is an alien language. It's just gibberish. I love how they throw another meteor at him, but this time the ship navigates around it. It's just like, no, 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 not this time. But although this cutscene speaks for itself. He still finds a way to crash land. It actually wasn't Olimar driving, though. It was the ship. Bzz. That was close. I have averted a crash landing. Running diagnostics. Alert! Danger! Louis is missing. He must have somehow fallen out of his cockpit.
He is not responding via his communicator. He is either flouting protocol or in danger. Olimar, you must find Louis before he freezes to death in the cold of this planet. Wait a moment. Look! By the way, you folks be sensitive to my feelings, okay? Because this is my favorite game of all time. I kid you not, it's my favorite game of all time. So if you say anything mean about Pikmin, I'm gonna hurt you. Anyway, could these be Pikmin? They look like they are about to be devoured as we speak. You must help them. Point at the screen and press the B button to call them with your whistle. Alright. I know. Yay. The Pikmin ran to your side. They seem to remember you, Captain Olimar. How fascinating. Give them instructions and do not delay. Hold the A button to grab a Pikmin, then point at the screen and release and throw it. Okay. There we go. I usually just kill him in one hit. So, okay, you're gonna have to bear with me on this part because the ship is quite obnoxious. Let's see. Okay, attention, Captain Olimar. I've just reestablished my communications link with Louis. It is fortunate we have managed to confirm his safety. I'm quite interested in the details of his condition. Okay, so if you're confused as to who Louis is, he's just Olimar's co-worker at work. I think he's new blood, though. He wasn't previously a co-worker, he was recently hired. So he has no idea what he's just a kid. Louis, allow me to assess your condition as per our safety protocols. Are you at all injured? Is that so? Then my concerns are eased. Our communication link shows you are nearby. Can you make your way to our location and rejoin us? I will navigate for you. Press plus to contact me and obtain information about the terrain. Louis, the odd object before you appears to be one of the onions mentioned in Olimar's report. The seed the onion ejected just sprouted. According to Olimar's report, it can be plucked with A. Oops. Beep a boop beep. Louis, this must be one of the Pikmin creatures from Olimar's report. It is staring at you. You can press down on the D-pad to issue objectives to your Pikmin squad and direct their movement. You can disband your squad with that button. Olimar's description of the creatures... Okay. So, I don't know if you got all that during the cutscene also, but the reason why they were sent back to the Pikmin planet is because Olimar brought back a souvenir, and since their company was in debt,
the ship actually noticed that it actually had some monetary value to it, which is Pocos, I guess, is their currency. And so the reason we were sent back is because if the planet just has I think it was like what, 100 Pocos just for like a little bottle cap, then the rest of the planet must have a bunch of stuff on it that's super valuable too. So we were sent back basically to collect treasure now so that we can bring the company's funds back up to speed. So the whole game is basically treasure hunting now. And it is unlimited time too, by the way. Completely unlimited time. Every time we go back into the ship, our oxygen is refueled completely. So there's no, like... Or, not oxygen, because oxygen is actually dangerous to Olimar's species. But anyway, yeah, so there's an unlimited amount of days that you have. Very unlike the first game. The onion ejected more seeds. The pellet from that flower must hold nutrients that breed Pikmin. Pikmin gather nutrients, haul them to the onion, and then further propagate the species. The onion is a Pikmin mothership. Reviewing Olimar's report, it seems to be repeatedly tapping a let's... blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again, as I said, there's a lot of tutorial on this part of the game, so... just kind of have to bear with it a little bit. After the first 2 days, it becomes a whole lot less intrusive with the tutorials. It just kind of goes hands-off for a little while, but... it does get a little annoying. Admittedly, like, the first part of the game is actually my least favorite, but it really opens up much later on. By the way, I think... Ridley should actually be making a cameo on this stream. I'm not sure. I don't know if he said that was today. Yeah, I mean, he said it was today, but I'm not sure when that was going to be today. So look out for that cameo. Yeah, it's a straight-up Duracell battery. Perhaps this object is one of the treasures that we are searching for. The only reason we found it here is because this is where you crash-landed. How fortunate. I would like to appraise it, but you must regroup with Olimar first. Can you see him? Press Z to move the camera behind you. You can also press left or right on the D-pad to zoom and up on the D-pad to change angles. GameCube controls are admittedly better, but what are we gonna do? Actually, I'll just go over here. Is this planet supposed to be Earth? Well, yes. Judging from the treasure in the second game, what you just saw, yes. It's implied that this is a post-apocalyptic Earth. Oh, that's right. Forgot. I might have forgotten some pellets over here. Yeah, I did. Okay, that makes sense. I make an excuse every single year to replay these games, man. There's not a single year that passes that I'm not replaying these games again. No idea why that is. I think I just have kind of like a... It's kind of like what Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon is to some people, I guess. It's one of those things where you just kind of... You grow up with it, and so... whenever you just hear the music and the sounds and you see the sights, it's just all so, like, emotional. I don't know why that's the case, but... It's just nostalgia. Yeah, in Pikmin 3 they actually give the planet a name. But that's a name that's given to the planet by the Copiates, which are basically... which are not Hawkatations, they just look like them, and they're about the same size. But anyway, Pikmin 3 gives the planet the name PNF 404, which is actually a really funny joke about Earth, specifically the internet, because their systems did like a web scan of the planet's surface in Pikmin 3, and they said, well, based on what we found on our scans, we're going to name it PNF 404. Which is funny, because PNF 404 stands for Page Not Found 404, which, if you know, that's essentially like an error message you get whenever you try and reach a domain that's not, that's either not registered or it's offline. So it further lends credence to the fact that this is a post-apocalyptic Earth, because all the servers everywhere are down. There's no, like, internet anywhere, basically. Okay, so... Captain Otomar, Louis, you are reunited at last. This has been a troublesome start to our trip, but now you must feel assured that your combined wits can get you through anything, correct? From now on, use B to form the group, and yada yada yada. Okay. I don't usually play as Louis, I like playing as Olimar. Oops. Whoops. I'm gonna try and remember my controls right now, because I'm not actually... Okay, there we go. That's how you do a zoom. That's what I was trying to do earlier. As far as I know, if you press up, you hold it down. Or maybe it's not that. There we go. It's side. You can actually have like this weird looking like forward angle. I never understood the use for that angle. It's not quite helpful. Something that I miss from the third game is the ability to multitask, because having two characters is nice, because you can sort of multitask in this game, but the other character, when not being used by the player, is just standing there. So it's like... it's helpful to have two characters. It's more helpful than the first game where you only had one character. But in the third game, you can actually command all three characters to do something individually, or I should say the other two captains to do something individually while you go off and do your thing. So you can actually have them completing tasks in the background while you do your thing in the present. So I missed that, because that was actually a really, really intuitive feature of Pikmin 3. It used the gamepad, which got a lot of criticism, I guess, but... I mean, jeez. You gotta lend it to them. They tried to use the gamepad whenever they could. And Pikmin 1 and 2, the new play controls actually brought in the Wii Remote controls, which, if you've ever seen me play Pikmin 1, yeah, it's pretty rough. I think that's Ridley, actually. Give me just a second. This is the cameo you've all been waiting for. Say hello.
What you playing, man?
Playing some Pikmin 2.
How's everybody doing?
We just started. There's not a lot of people yet, but we're getting there. I just started. I just got a Duracell battery. But yeah, so so Ridley's here. PR says hi.
Hello, PR. Oh man, I hope this game does come to Switch.
Oh man, me too. Well, thank you so much for this.
I there should be a tiny little warranty card in there.
Oh, there should be. Ooh, this is fancy. Nice. I think I'll use it now, actually. Warranty. Oh yeah, there is. That's not warranty. Yes. It's in there somewhere. Why aren't we doing an unboxing right now?
We can't seem to do unboxing right.
We can't. Ah, here it is.
Yeah.
Warranty. Cool. Alright. Well, thank you very much.
Alright, my friend. I'm out. Later, everybody. Enjoy the stream. This little piece of professionalism for us.
See you later. All right. See what I tell you? He was gonna show up. I wasn't lying. Yeah. So he just gave me a pop guard thing, whatever. I don't actually know what it's called, but it's one of those things. It's one of those sort of protectors you use in front of the mic, which I'm gonna use right now. So hold on, let me actually get this set up. This is some during the stream, super professional post stream button setup here. So let's see if I can get this set up. Okay, I know I don't need it for now, but I'm just so excited to have one. I've been wanting one for ages. Let's see. This music goes perfectly with like my trying to put this together. Will he ever get it? Will he ever figure it out? Let's see. Oh, hey, Toad. Sorry, I didn't notice you there. Sorry, I've been preoccupied with this thing here. Okay, I think I got something now. I think. Maybe not. This is so unprofessional, I'm sorry. We've never been professional in the first place, so just... It's not like we have a standard we're trying to live up to or anything. Alright, I actually think this thing is... I think this thing is pretty much ready. Almost. Kind of. Never had to work with one of these things before, so getting it set up is like an interesting endeavor. Curses, Ridley. Why'd you have to put this on me? Why'd you have to get me addicted to setups for the mics? Ooh, I think I found a sweet spot here. This is the best stream ever, you guys, isn't it? It's starting out just fantastically. At least you guys got a cameo. Alright. I think we're ready. Emphasis on think. Sorry about that. Sorry if I just destroyed your ears. That must have been loud. I apologize. Okay, I think, yeah, we're good now. Awesome. Well, this is fun. I like this now. I feel like I'm a real streamer now. All right. Leave it to me to think up catchy names for head products. It is but one of my many talents. Oh yeah, so that's what he does. We shall end our first day here and report back to our president. His face will surely be joyous. Surely. However, to communicate with Hawkatate, we must fly into low orbit above the planet. We will not return to the surface until morning so as to avoid the indigenous nocturnal creatures. To 30 minutes, and we're almost 40 minutes now, and we just did the first day. All right, let's try to ramp up the speed here a little bit. You found your first bit of treasure. Fine work. Our future depends on your efforts, so check your treasure hoard regularly. I'll check in often. Keep up the pace. Okay, so this is something you can do. This is probably one of the hugest reasons why I think Pikmin 2 is my favorite game. It has so much lore. And as you can see on the bottom right there, there is on Olimar's, well, you saw Olimar's journal for the treasure hoard, and then the Piklopedia. Oh my gosh, the Piklopedia! The Piklopedia is my just favorite thing ever. Really love the Piklopedia. It is just every game needs to do this. Every game. But okay, I'll stop rambling about it and just show you. So this is the Dwarf Red Bulborb. You get Piklopedia entries as you unlock or as you meet these creatures in the game. So because I actually met a Dwarf Red Bulborb, or I actually attacked one, it'll pop up on my Piklopedia. As an entry. So as I encounter them, they'll have their own slots. You can actually feed them Pick carrots, which are actually the reason why Olimar named Pikmin Pikmin, is because the Pikmin look like these carrots, which are called Pick carrots. And you could feed them, look at their different animations and stuff like that. But then there's Olimar's notes. So he has... I'll just read it. It speaks for itself. Dwarf Red Bulborb, Pancerus Pseudoculi russus, a breadbug family. Although initially identified as a juvenile red bulborb, groundbreaking new research indicates that this creature is in fact a member of the breadbug family. A close relative of the vanilla breadbug, it escapes predation through mimicry. Unique adaptation of the red bulborb's crimson coloration allows the species to safely commingle. Such effective adaptation and obfuscation by a prey species is rare, indicating this clever creature is a master of mimicry. So that was just one of the notes, and there's hundreds of entries that you get later in the game. So this stuff is fascinating to me. I don't know. Like, mythological lore is just great. Anyway, so Pellet Posy, Ampulus nutrio, pellet weed family. In the stem of the pellet posy, one can observe the muscle fiber unique to half-plant, half-animal species such as the Pikmin and candy pop flowers, so the pellet posy is a species that can be considered a close relative. Although the ability to crystallize nectar is unique to a small group of the pellet weed family, the fact that these plants reach maturity so quickly and that their pellets contain such high concentrations of the natural nutrients in the soil explains why the Pikmin and so many of the other indigenous species are so reliant on these pellets for sustenance. And then over here we have Olimar's journal. We actually get 2 sets of notes for each Piclopedia, or for each encyclopedia, I should say. So for the Piclopedia, we get Olimar's notes, and then after we beat the game, you get Louie's notes for every single entry as well. So you get double the notes. And then the same thing goes for this, except you get the ship's notes. So the ship actually does a sales pitch for every item that belongs to a same category. So there's going to be a bunch of different batteries later, and the ship is going to do a sales pitch for all of the batteries collectively in a pack. Whereas Olimar just talks about just generally his thoughts on it, which is kind of funny. So this is the Duracell battery. Olimar's notes. We've recovered our first treasure. Amazingly, the Pikmin remembered how to salvage it. I can't understand their adorable language, and I don't know what they're thinking, yet I'm so happy to see them. When I crashed on this planet, the Pikmin helped me locate my missing ship parts. In my darkest hour, the Pikmin were there for me. Now that I'm reunited with them, I know everything will be alright. It will, right? So yeah, this is good stuff. I'm telling you, this is good stuff. It's just objectively good stuff. Good morning, workers. Ready for another day of toiling for the profit of your company? The Pikmins seem to still be asleep inside their onion. What lazy creatures. Oh my gosh, I hate the ship so much. I hate the ship so much. They do a good job of making him the most unlikable character in the game. Next to Louie, but you'll find that out later. No wonder they lack survival skills. Stand beneath the onion and press A to call them out. Alright, let's go. Aw, I missed. Whatever. I think there's more over here. There should be. Did someone say onion? Why, yes. Little did you know Olimar is, in fact, an ogre. Just getting more pick dudes. That's all I'm doing. I was going to actually try to make this, because I play it every year, you know, I want to try something different, but I've never played it on stream before, so I figured I wasn't going to do anything special this time around either, since you guys have never seen it, but I was thinking of doing a thing where I just try not to lose any Pikmin whatsoever, although that would be very, very hard. It's not something I can do, I don't think. I've seen no Pikmin loss runs, and those are impressive. But I'm not that good. Off to an excellent start, I think. Oh, pfft. I'm such a dummy. For some reason, I thought that was already down. I need better glasses. Certainly. Alright, you guys ready for this? You guys ready for this? I don't think you guys are ready for this. Easy. The pellet just came out of him. Poor guy. Man, I still remember Pikmin. Pikmin 1 technically was the first stream of the channel. There were more streams. There were more streams before that. You guys probably don't remember this, or maybe there was... I don't even think PR was even... I don't think he actually was subscribed to the channel yet. But we actually used to stream on Twitch. I think our first one was Nightmare Ninja, if I'm not mistaken. But I'd have to... I have terrible memory, so I don't actually remember. But we used to stream on Twitch, and technically our first stream was actually Gravity Rush for PS4. And I don't know if that's still archived. I know I archived it for a few months, but I know Twitch, unlike YouTube, doesn't save them forever. So that's why I kind of switched to YouTube. And not only that, but I know there's technically a wider audience on Twitch, but Twitch's rules were just kind of freaking me out a little bit, and then YouTube's rules are now freaking me out a little bit. So I mean, it doesn't really matter where you go now. But I already had kind of some people on my YouTube channel already, so I figured, let's keep it all in the same place. Let's not use two different services to stream stuff. I was actually thinking of doing both at one point, meaning I could run OBS and have that streaming to YouTube, and then I could run XSplit or something, and I could have that running to Twitch, and just have that simultaneously going on. So we have either we have a Twitch feed and we have a YouTube feed. So I thought that would have been cool, but it's kind of a crazy setup. It's a crazy setup, so I'd rather not. Hi, Lord Charles. Good to see you again. I joined during the first Xenoblade stream, subscribed after the video on why the Echoes banner was used for Shadows of Valentia. Oh, that's right. Yes, I do remember that. But yeah, our first stream that we actually completed was Gravity Rush 2, and I played, or not Gravity Rush 2, Gravity Rush 1 for PS4, and I played that all the way through. It was a glorious moment. I want to go back and look to see if we've actually, if it's still archived on Twitch, because, man, that was actually, I actually liked that one a lot. I'd be willing to replay it if you guys want to see it, just as kind of like a celebration, I guess, of where we started stream-wise, but the reason why I did Pikmin 2 is actually for the same reason, because Pikmin 1 was technically this channel's first stream, so it's nice to go back to Pikmin. Anyway, how could Pikmin destroy such a massive wall? When masked, their might is ferocious. Louis, did Olimar instruct you on proper Pikmin commanding protocol? Apparently not. Olimar, you are failing in your duty as a superior. Allow me to explain. Press A to grab Pikmin and release and throw them. Call them into a group with B. Press C and... yeah, you've given me this spiel like 1,000 times now, dude. I remember during the first Pikmin stream how at the end, when I was fighting Emperor Bulblax in the final trial, I lost like every single Pikmin. That, like, he just jumped up and landed on everyone. That was so embarrassing. Oh, man. I was so defeated. Anyway, interesting. Warm air is welling up from the hole in the ground before you. What could lie underground? What is wrong? You both show expressions of unease. Do not fear, the leader's group of Pikmin will join you. I shall dispatch my research pod, too. Approach the hole and press A to jump in. This is the second reason why I love Pikmin 2 so much. Next to the Piklopedia and stuff like that. This is the second reason. And this is basically dungeons. Pikmin 1, I feel, was very straightforward, very short. And that, you know, that's fine in its own right. But Pikmin 2 added so much depth. And you know what's funny is completely ironically, the way it adds depth is by making you go into giant chasms. So, but yeah, intriguing. My heat sensors indicate that this hole's interior is warmer than on the surface. Analysis suggests danger lies ahead, but the promise of treasure is tantalizing. If you wish to check underground terrain, press plus to communicate with me. I'm not just a ship, I'm an all-purpose support pod. So yeah, I guess Miyamoto played on kind of the idea of like little ant holes that he would find in his garden, and this was kind of the that was kind of the inspiration for this. So you could see they're just kind of dug out little. This place is kind of like a dug out little, just ant kind of. It has that kind of like ant farmish kind of aesthetic, I guess. If you were to do like a cross-sectional of like an ant tunnel, this is what it would kind of look like. And so that was kind of the idea. And not only that, but the ant tunnels that Miyamoto was looking at is also good to note that they were also very maze-like, as is the nature of ant tunnels. And so he also wanted these dungeons to be kind of maze-like as well. And I thought, again, I thought that this was probably my second favorite part of Pikmin 2, just because it added so much more longevity to the game. Like, it lasted way longer. Oh. There we go. Whew, that was close. There are some pits in this game that are just daunting. They're all in the last world, obviously. The hardest ones are in the last world, but at the end of every hole... Well, not every hole, but at the end of most of the holes, you'll actually get a boss. And that was another thing, is I loved the variety of bosses. How can you possibly consider this beast a treasure? Beasts are incompatible with my circuitry. I suppose I will store your finds in my hold. But I do not think beasts will be worth much. Seven Up. Quenching Emblem. So, another part that I loved about this game was just the fact that there's so much product placement. Not for the sake of advertisement, but just for the sake of actually making it seem like a real Earth world. I hated how they took that out in Pikmin 3. I wanted more product placement. I thought that was very quaint. This hole appears to be quite deep. My sensors indicate more treacherous terrain ahead. Louis, you do recall that you can adjust the camera with Z and up, left, and right on the D-pad, correct? Your expression suggests you do. Excellent. Don't worry, all your Pikmin will follow you. Approach the hole and press A to enter it. Yeah, so I loved that about it. And not only that, but I don't know if you noticed this about the 7-Up logo, but they kind of used old versions of those logos. They don't just, like, recycle the most recent logo. They take some classic designs that were used in the company's past. I don't know, I'm really just fascinated by how they handled everything in this game. It's just quality-wise, just an amazing experience. Oh. Now I'm not going to collect every single monster because you don't have to, but... It's inconceivable that such an immense object has been buried here for so long. The design on the outer shell resembles the surface of the planet as seen from space. Perhaps this can be used for something other than salvage. But how will we ever lift it? I fear that even 100 red Pikmin will be unable to lift it. I wonder how we're gonna lift it. 101 Pikmin? Aw, shucks. The maximum amount of Pikmin you can use is 100. So how will we ever get that piece of treasure off of the ground if it's 101 Pikmin? Oh my gosh. I guess we're just gonna have to leave it. The game's broken. Guess we're just gonna have to leave it. I didn't want to do that. I guess we're gonna have to. Oh, jeez, what are those? Astounding. A flower blooms in a cave deep beneath the snowy landscape. Clearly, it is warmer down here than above. Look, the Pikmin are restless. They look as if they yearn to be tossed into the flower. Amazing! A purple Pikmin. It has hair, and is quite stocky. It seems very heavy and strong. This kind of Pikmin was not mentioned in your report, Olimar. It must be an entirely new type. Transforming Pikmin by tossing them into flowers? Intriguing. Perhaps there are others. My body feels like a purple Pikmin. I feel like a purple Pikmin. I saw some really hilarious photoshopped images of like Reggie being, I think Reggie's face superimposed on a purple Pikmin or the other way around. Quality stuff in my opinion. Alright, so as you can see, the purple Pikmin can carry the weight of 10 Pikmin, so that's how we carry this thing. You probably already knew that. I'm probably hyping this up way too much. But, forgive me, I'm excited. The Spherical Atlas. There is a device resembling a microchip embedded inside the sphere, retrieving data. Error. I could only decode a portion of the data, but I did retrieve new geographic charts. I will input this data into my planetary database and name it the Sphere Chart. Press plus to contact me and go to the exploration kit on the radar screen by pressing left on the D-pad. Now that we have this new data, we should explore the decoded territory tomorrow. Why are you guys over there? So, whenever you hear that weird sound that you just heard, that means that there's no more treasure left in the dungeon. I also love this game. I love this game for many reasons, but another one of them is the Pikmin. They have little personalities. They're singing constantly. And by the way, if it sounds all disjointed, that's because there's actually individual other Pikmin that are joining in. And if I were to throw one of those Pikmin that's actually joining in the song, it would actually interrupt it. So cool. Astounding! Water is shooting out of this geyser with incredible force. Sensors indicate it has enough power to launch you into the air. Approach it and press A to try. Yay. You've successfully returned to the planet's surface. Excellent decision-making, gentlemen. We must celebrate your first successful spelunking expedition. You've gathered a large amount of data that needs in-depth analysis. I shall send a report back to the President tonight detailing your progress. Oh my gosh, what do you want now? Almar and Louis, since you will explore a new area tomorrow, today's work is done. What? You still want to work? Unacceptable. You may not realize it, but you are exhausted. You should take a much-needed rest, as you have all the time you need to collect the treasure. Haste makes waste, so take it slow and steady. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry to see you go, Lord Charles. We'll see you next time, buddy. Sorry, I've actually decided to remove this for now before I get a more... once I get a more stable setup, I'll utilize it. There we go. Works like a charm. Okay. Baby steps first, Olimar. Plan well and don't worry about me. Our debt is with Happy Huckatate's savings and loan, after all. Besides, there's nothing left to repossess, so ha! I love the president. He's great. Let's look at this Piclopedia. You know it. You know it. I gotta look at this Piclopedia. The Snow Bulborb. Pancerus pseudooculi frosticus. Breadbug family. Like the dwarf red bulborb, the snow bulborb is a member of the breadbug family that seeks to survive through imitating the appearance and behavior of a bulborb. Its pale coloration and blue spots make for easy identification. In particular, this organism mimics the hairy bulborb, but it is of course unable to grow the hair that gives the hairy bulborb its name. However, as the hairy bulborb has been known to lose its hair in certain circumstances, the snow bulborb is an effective mimic that is often mistaken for a member of the same species. The red bulborb, Oculus Kageyami russus, grubdog family. This large organism has the familiar mandibles and cranial morphology of the grubdog family, as well as the characteristic bulging eyes. As with most grub dogs, the creature's cranium comprises half of its total length and girth. Showing a scarlet abdomen with white spots, this creature is primarily nocturnal, choosing to prey upon smaller creatures returning to their nests. Originally classified as the spotty bulborb, further research has reclassified this species as the red bulborb. Subspecies of varied colors have recently been discovered, but academics are divided into two rival camps over how to handle their classification. You guys are going to be Pikmin experts by the time this stream is over. Against your will, of course. Violent candy... violent... Well, I suppose you could say that. Violet candy pop bud. Flora puniceus. Candy pop family. Research from our most recent expedition has confirmed the presence of candy pop buds in subterranean regions. Considering the microecologies this plant has been found in, one could surmise that it could be found in any cavern regardless of geographic region. Tossing Pikmin into this flower results in the release of purple Pikmin seeds, regardless of the color of the Pikmin tossed in. This variety of candy pop contains robustly odoriferous oils. If candy pop flowers could be cultivated, there is no doubt that the plants would offer multifaceted benefits to the cosmetic, medical, and tourist industries. And clover, Quatreus infectum, clover family. This is a naturalized species. These plants are extremely persistent, and with the assistance of a symbiotic fungus that grows on its roots, the species is able to survive even in drought conditions. Typically, its leaves come in groupings of 3, but intense impact on the leafing stem early in the development cycle can result in an extremely rare 4-leaf cluster. You know, you guys aren't even getting Pikmin lore, you're just getting biology now. Alright, citrus lump. This fruit was dug up from the floor of an icy cavern. It appears that the fruit's thick skin protected it from the frigid cold. It's quite remarkable. The shape of the fruit eerily resembles the president's head. P.S. The labyrinthine underground entrails of this planet are like a completely different world. Utter scrap. The area we recently touched down in is blanketed with a fresh layer of frozen precipitation. As tranquil and relaxing as it is, I named it the Valley of Repose. Using Pikmin to move obstacles, I was able to open up some new areas to exploration, where I found this hunk of metal. The purple Pikmin were somehow able to carry this massive treasure. Today, we measured their physical strength using the ship's onboard beefometer. It seems that they have 10 times the weight and physical power of any other Pikmin. When I throw them, they land with a resounding thud. I've decided to commemorate the cave I first encountered them in by naming it Emergence Cave. Quenching Emblem. I often brag about my inexhaustible supply of self-control, but when I peer at this treasure, I can't help but want to take a drink. Yeah! Alright. Let's go to the Awakening Wood. My favorite area in the game. Next to the Perplexing Pool, of course. But, I mean, look at this place. It's beautiful. It's actually, if you recognize its appearance, it's actually the Forest of Hope from the first game. But years have passed, it seems. Good morning. It should please you to know the purple Pikmin are lodged safely in my hole. The confines of my interior seem to suit them perfectly, though they do occasionally tickle me. Stand in the ring of light below me and press A to call the purple Pikmin out. Louis, has Olimar instructed you on the peculiarities of Pikmin creatures? The Pikmin form groups based on color when disbanded with C. Grabbing Pikmin with A will also cause them to group by color. Now for the bonus lesson. First, press and hold A to pick up a Pikmin. Then, while you hold A, press B to swap. Yeah, I know. The first time you've heard this, Olimar, remember to properly train new employees. Gee, how long was Olimar stranded here? Well, in the first game, maximum time would be 30 days. But not to get really, like, I don't know. Not to get really, like, I guess technical, because, I mean, we should just take the game at what it tells us, as opposed to looking too deep into things. But, we technically don't know what 30 days even means in this world. So, in other words, we don't actually know what a full day looks like at this point, because it's so far into the future. These days could either be much longer days or much shorter days, depending on what we see in the game. Now, for the game's sake, yes, the days are rather short. They go by very quickly. But that doesn't mean that that's representative of the actual time that passes, so I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's one of those things. I swear, if I don't see anything Pikmin related this E3, I'm going to cry! Just do it the normal way. So these little things, though, if I collect enough of those, it'll give me spicy juice, which basically makes all the Pikmin go Super Saiyan. So these are actually pretty good. And when I say Super Saiyan, I mean it literally. Don't even question. It does not appear to have any monetary value, but I shall research potential uses for it. Bring me another specimen. Did I check out Hey Pikmin by any chance? Yes. Yes, I did. I have it, and I've already beaten it. You know, it's not a good Pikmin game. It's not a bad game. Like, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not a good Pikmin game. It's very, you could tell it was not made by first party. You could tell it was made by sort of a second party partner company. Yeah, yes, I know, it's the ultra spicy spray. Make them go Super Saiyan. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. So... I forgot which team actually developed it, but I know it was the same people behind Yoshi's New Island, which apparently got really just very poor reviews. So they didn't already have a lot of stuff going for them, in terms of, like, their pedigree and stuff. But at the same time, they're handling an incredibly important property. You know, Yoshi is one thing, but I don't know. I feel like Pikmin is a little bit more important than Yoshi. That's probably just my opinion. That probably other people could say, well, actually, no, Yoshi's objectively more important, but whatever. Point being is that they kind of already messed up in the past, and they messed up again with Pikmin in a very small way. Because, as I said, the game didn't suck. The game didn't suck at all. I don't think that there was anything, as I said, inherently wrong with the game. It's just that they didn't get Pikmin right. Pikmin is not supposed to be a 2D side-scroller. It's just not. You could have done something else with it. Like, something else. But as a 2D side-scroller, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Not only that, but... if they wanted to do that and they made it like, oh, it's a Metroidvania or something like that, then I would have been like, okay, you know what? I could see how you're attempting to mix Pikmin with this genre, and it works because it's more open and all that sort of thing. Pikmin is open, whereas Hey Pikmin was very linear. It was like, start at the beginning and then you just make it to the end of the game, or make it to the end of there's levels. That's the thing. That's kind of the problem I have, is that they're all levels. Now they do get bigger as you progress through the game, but they're not big enough. They still just feel like bigger linear levels. They don't feel like a whole area that you could explore. They just feel like, as I said, just bigger levels. So that was one strike against it. Second strike is that, yes, you get to play as Olimar again, because in Pikmin 3 you don't play as Olimar, but in Hey Pikmin you can play as Olimar again. Second strike against them is how they handled Olimar's character. As you can already tell, Olimar's kind of a genius in this game. Well, in both games, really. He has generally probably the best dialogue out of, like, any... That wasn't a loss, by the way. See that? I saved them. So that I still haven't lost a single Pikmin. Let's see if I can actually keep up that trend. But anyway, Olimar has a very specific kind of character, and I know that might sound ridiculous to those of you who don't really particularly care about Olimar's character, but you know, it sucks. Like, if you're a fan of anything, you want it to, you know, be consistent. You don't want it to act like it's something else all of a sudden, because that consistency kind of ruins what you thought about that character. So it's not really like, oh, they ruined Olimar and so, you know, the whole game is bad. It's among the reasons why the game was lackluster, in my opinion. But when you have an established franchise and you mess up a character that very clearly had a direction before, It's frustrating. It's frustrating because there's already a template for that character. Why are you rewriting? You didn't have to rewrite anything. There was already something to look at there. You don't have to do any of that. So, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of retconning happened during Hey Pikmin, which worries me, but then it doesn't really, because I knew that was gonna happen. Kill him. Alright. I knew that was gonna happen, and I don't really care about it too much. The reason why I don't care about it too much is because I know, as I said, is that it's a second-party Nintendo game. It's not a first-party Nintendo game. We know that for certain. That Nintendo didn't develop it. It was the creators behind the Yoshi's New Island or whatever. And so they didn't... It's very clear that they didn't know the source material as well as the creators did. I mean, obviously, they're secondary creators. They're not the primary ones. But yeah. So because it was so obvious that they were not Nintendo making it, that kind of degraded the quality of it a little bit, and it was really hard to get re-immersed in the Pikmin world, just because of the fact that they got so many lore bits wrong. And you know me, I'm a stickler for consistency in lore. Like for example, I know I'm being vague right now, but for example, there was parts in Hey Pikmin, because they actually brought back a monster encyclopedia. So they didn't call it the Piklopedia, but they actually had Olimar's notes again. So they brought that back, and I was actually like really pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh! So they actually brought this back. That's really cool. But, as with many other things in the game, they handled it kind of incorrectly and inaccurately. So sometimes there would be entries in the Hey Pikmin Piklopedia where Olimar would say, oh my gosh, maybe this fire monster has fire because of this reason. We don't know how he's able to create fire. We don't know how he's able to do that. But in Pikmin 2, if you just spent like literally 60 seconds of your life and looked at that same monster in Pikmin 2 and look at the entry that Pikmin 2's encyclopedia has on that creature, Olimar clearly already knows why that creature is able to make fire. Like, so there's a monster called a fiery blowhog in the Pikmin games, and that monster returns in Hey Pikmin. And so one really good example of how they handled kind of lore wrong is basically how they said, oh, like Olimar looked at this fiery blowhog and he was just like, oh yeah, we've never known how it's able to do what it does. Whereas in Pikmin 2, that he already figures it out. Like, he's already known this for years now. But yeah, it was just disappointing. It was just so disappointing, because it's like, you guys would know this stuff if you had just spent just a couple hours reading the source material. I feel like they glanced at the source material because there is evidence of consistency. There's evidence of the fact that they did some homework, but they didn't do enough. I feel like they were not as true as they should have been to the source material. Like, there's a couple times in Pikmin 2's encyclopedia where Olimar criticizes something that his boss does a lot. So he has these little personal anecdotes that are like, the president is always getting on my butt about this or whatever. And then there's also times where he talks about family life, where he actually talks about his wife back at home, and he's just like, man, you know, sometimes I'm actually kind of annoyed by how my wife acts in certain situations, but then other times he's like, you know what, I'm way too hard on my wife, I'm way too hard on my kids, I should learn how to be a better person. And so they took those points where Olimar criticized the president and Olimar criticized his family, and they basically ramped that up to 125%. But yeah, they basically took, in Hey Pikmin, they took those little bits where Olimar's just like, oh yeah, my wife does this thing that I'm annoyed by, or oh, the president does this thing that I'm annoyed by. They took that, and in Hey Pikmin, every single, and I kid you not, next time I stream Pikmin 2, I will actually bring Hey Pikmin to the stream, and I'll read some of the data entries and compare them with Pikmin 2's data entries. Because, like, every single data entry in Hey Pikmin is like, my wife is so annoying, and the president, this reminds me of the president is the most annoying guy on the planet, and oh my gosh, my wife and kids, they're the most annoying little brats on the planet, and it's just like, Olimar was never, I'm gonna complain about literally every single thing in my personal life, or I'm gonna relate this monster to every single, like, I'm gonna relate this monster to the president in some way. Like, that was never Olimar's character. He did that occasionally, like you just noticed with the orange. With the orange, also called the citrus lump in this game, Olimar's just like, oh, it vaguely reminds me of the president's head. But he doesn't do that for every single data entry. He's not like a they make Olimar kind of sound like a diva in Hey Pikmin, and that was just really annoying. Yeah, that was I don't know, that was kind of a huge turnoff for me when I played Hey Pikmin, is just how badly they just butchered Olimar's character and how they made him seem like he's just complaining about his personal life all the time. But yeah, it was just frustrating. In Pikmin 2, they really just got his character just down. And actually, I think in Pikmin 3, they did a pretty good job with bringing his character back, too. Spoiler alert, Olimar's in Pikmin 3, too. That's not really a spoiler. You actually find that out pretty early on. But anyway. Point being is that... Oh, jeez. Usually that works. Usually that works. Don't judge me. Anyway, in Pikmin 3, they actually do a pretty good job of keeping consistent with Olimar's character with, like, data logs and entries and stuff like that. But, again, that's because it was made by first-party Nintendo. They know what they're doing, and they know what kind of character Olimar is. So I don't know, I really, really appreciated that in Pikmin 3, that they didn't do any retconning of any sort. That just frustrated me in Hey Pikmin, and so... all that to say, all that rambling to say that, yes, I played Hey Pikmin, and no, I didn't like it too much for a few of those lore-related reasons that I felt like kept me completely unimmersed the entire time. Like, I was just playing it to see what would happen, to see if they could, like, salvage anything from it. I played it from beginning to end. The final boss was very underwhelming. I really, really, really hope that Nintendo doesn't take Hey Pikmin and they use that to be canonical. I would like to say, just because the events of Hey Pikmin don't make any sense with the rest of the story, that Hey Pikmin isn't canonical to the rest of the games, which is good. I don't want it to be canonical. I hope it isn't. But I really, really hope that if there's a Pikmin 4 for Switch or something like that, that they completely don't acknowledge Hey Pikmin as ever even happening, because that just... that game's rather a mess story-wise. It says, like, oh, there's the SS Dolphin 2, which is like, okay, so this is after Pikmin 2, right? Because it's the SS Dolphin 2. And Olimar never had the SS Dolphin 2. And it's like, yeah, well, let's also reference the fact that he doesn't know anything about the monsters on this planet. Let's also reference the fact that he, like, knows nothing about Pink Pikmin. Okay, so he knows nothing about Pink Pikmin, he knows nothing about Rock Pikmin, it seems. So this is his first encounter with them? Well, he encountered them, like, before the events of Pikmin 3, so, okay, so this must be after Pikmin 2, before Pikmin 3, right? It's like, well, no, because he actually references some events in Pikmin 3 as well. he references, gosh, I'd have to go into specifics, but Hey Pikmin also references some of the stuff that happens in Pikmin 3 also, through the enemies, actually. So there are only some enemies that you see in Pikmin 3, and he notes in the entries in Hey Pikmin that, oh yeah, I've already experienced these back on the original Pikmin planet. Which is like, wait a second, there's another Pikmin planet? Hey Pikmin doesn't take place on PNF 404, it takes place on a completely different planet that apparently also has Pikmin on it? It's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Just, Hey Pikmin is just completely all over the place story-wise. It doesn't know what it wants to do. If they had done a little bit more studying for the source material, it would have made so much more sense with everything. But you could tell, as I said, they just took a cursory glance at the source material and were like, okay, that's good. We're fine. We don't need to do any more work, it's fine. So that's my rant on Hey Pikmin. Congratulations. Now you know just how crazy I am for this game and how I want it to be done right. I'm very particular about this game. I know that's probably a flaw, but I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting that a developer actually keep consistent with an already established character. I think that's just that's not a thing that you should be like feeling like you're a stickler about. Like, I don't know. That's a perfectly justifiable thing to want. Okay, so I've actually ignored the chat up until this point. So I'm going to go ahead and read the chat now so that you guys don't feel left out. Let me take a look at that. Best game stream? Oh, well, thank you, TSMS Nation. Let's see. The only good thing to Hey Pikmin, I would say, is the music. And even then, it's not really Pikmin music. I agree. That is a pointer towards it, but yeah. Also, to be fair, I don't think there are many who care about all the freaking detail in Pikmin games. I do, but I don't think people care. Zaid Oken says, I'm into Pikmin, because Water Wraith ducked me as a kid. I'm assuming you meant something else, but I'll just repeat it as it was written. He was kind of a real person. Oh, jeez! Oh no! Chat! You've distracted me. Oh, AKA he was kind of a real person. Yes. Yeah, so I'm assuming you were talking about when I talked about his family and how he talked about his family. Yeah, he was just being a normal dude. They just made him just a family man. That's all they did with his character in Pikmin 2. But with Hey Pikmin, they were just like, oh no, he's just a diva. He's just a complete diva. Okay, and then I hope Hey Pikmin is kind of just a Captain Toad situation, where it was just a game that changed IPs, doesn't really ever go anywhere in the big picture. Yeah, so again, I'm with you right there. I really hope that Hey Pikmin was just kind of like an experiment, just a fun little thing on the side that they decided to do because they have the IP and they want to use it. They want it to have a game on the 3DS, so we're going to use the IP on the 3DS, which makes sense. I consider it a side game. I completely consider it a side game, so I'm not too worried about it having any bearing on the larger story whatsoever. But yeah, Luck Wafer. Yeah, so I'm not worried about Hey Pikmin actually meaning anything in the grand scheme of things, because I think Nintendo knows a little bit more about their story than that. But it did kind of suck, because I was a little bit excited for it, and it's a shame that it didn't actually live up to being something more than that. A Game & Watch? Yes! So yeah, in Pikmin 2, some of the treasures are really familiar items, some of which are actually Nintendo items. So if you notice at the beginning of this cave, I actually found a D-pad And then later on, I found a Game & Watch. And so now, I actually don't... I'm not sure if that's here or not. It could be later. But you actually find a Rob head. So, yeah, they have a lot of self-referential stuff. So you might be wondering what this is. This is Empress Bullblax. She's disgusting. So I just gotta wake her up. Just gotta give her a little tap tap. So I hit her for a little while, and then she does a roll. And then she does another roll. So this version of Empress Bullblax is actually very easy, because you experience this early in the game. They don't want it to be too hard, but you experience, like... This is the soft version of Empress Bullblax. Later in the game, they show you a much harder version of Empress Bullblax, which is, yeah, it's like 100 times harder than this. I could still beat it pretty easily, but... The thing that makes it hard is because in the second one, I think she's spawning, like, larva Bulborb. Oh no! Pikmin death count 1? Dang. That sucks. I didn't actually see him run off like that. Anyway, but the reason why the second one is so hard is because whenever she runs into the wall, she makes, like, meteors fall from the sky, and her children are constantly barraging you as well. But Sarks, you gotta respect women. No comment. I like the music in this game. I do too. I think my favorite songs come from the Perplexing Pool and the Awakening Wood. What an absolutely repulsive life form. Our return to Hakata cannot come soon enough. Hope I didn't off-put any of you with my ramblings. I was just speaking from the heart, man. Boss music especially, yes. I love the boss tunes in this game. Pretty epic. I love the final boss music too. That one's one of my favorites. So this is just a love tester, apparently. It's like it's a love tester, and Nintendo is basically playing on the idea that these are fake. Because it actually just, it locates treasure. So, I guess metallic stuff? I don't know. This contraption seems to react when it approaches treasure. I will connect it to my radar. Processing complete. The treasure gauge is now fully operational. It will now appear on your monitor. So yeah, now I can search for the treasure with this needle thing that'll give me bleeps whenever I'm nearby a piece of treasure. One Pikmin died today. Remember how he died, everybody. The first Pikmin died from being crushed by Empress Bullblax. Would you look at that? 20% of the debt is already recovered. Oh my gosh, can we please... Sensor bar thing, can we please? Okay, good. Alright, let's see if I can actually do another hole. wanted to see what was possible. One thing I did notice was the flanderization of Louis in 3. They turned his kind of lack of focus persona into Pikmin 3 guy who, just to upgrade his kitchen, start a cooking show. I mean, Louis was cool. I see what you mean there. Are you referring to how they kind of made Louis just kind of like a like his whole MO is just food now? Like that's his whole thing. I mean, to be fair, I think there was some how should I say? I feel like there was justification for that characterization, though. I feel like that was kind of a that was definitely a justification of, I don't know. I feel like that had more reason than any of the stuff that Hey Pikmin did. I don't know. Like, I felt like, because Louis, towards the end of Pikmin 2, does kind of become sort of a pest. Yes, Louis was cool, and I do agree that Louis actually is cool too. The cooking notes that he has towards the end of the game are definitely very... They're actually kind of insightful. I saw this one guy. I don't actually remember what his name was or anything like that, but I saw this one guy tried to actually replicate some of the dishes, but with like real food instead of like bugs and stuff. It's actually really good. I mean, some of the stuff that he like suggests to make is actually quite. It's pretty tantalizing stuff, but as I said, I feel like his characterization in Pikmin 3 was justified because technically he did have a lot of reason. They gave a lot of examples in Pikmin 2 of why he's obsessed with food. And not only that, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen the YouTuber Daz reviews, but he does an excellent kind of exposition on why Louis kind of nuts after the events of Pikmin 2, is that he actually kind of literally gets possessed by the water wraith. And in Pikmin 3, that is kind of evident. I don't know. I'm not one to over-speculate, but I feel like Pikmin 2 has enough evidence so that Pikmin 3's depiction of Louis actually kind of does make sense a little bit. I think there was some character lost in 3, basically. Dude, what? Where did this cooking stuff happen? Oh, you're talking... Oh, okay. So, if you don't know already, in Pikmin 2, once you beat the final boss, the Titan Dweevil, it's very secret. But you, if you're aware of the Piklopedia in Pikmin 2, then after you've beat the Titan Dweevil, which is the final boss, and you rescue Louis, in the Piklopedia, you'll actually get an additional set of notes for every single data entry in the Piklopedia. So, those, instead of getting Olimar's notes, you'll actually have the option of choosing Louis' notes for the Piklopedia. And if you look at Louis' notes, he basically tells you how to cook and serve every single enemy in the game. I kid you not. He basically, they're literal cooking guide, they're recipes to eat every single enemy in the game. Those are called Louis' notes, and you unlock those at the end of the game once you've rescued Louis from the Titan Dweevil. It is an amazing attention to detail, and I actually thought that Louis' whole spiel in Pikmin 3 with how he was obsessed with food and stuff like that actually kind of made sense. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to actually... I didn't mean to go into unnecessary explanation there. I mean, you mentioned someone making this stuff in real life. I was talking about the chef notes a moment ago. Okay, yeah. Okay, my mistake. I apologize. Yeah, so I actually don't know... Again, I wish I remembered. But there was a person that I saw either on YouTube or Vimeo or one of those, that it was a dude that basically just took Louis' recipes as just kind of guides and made his own recipes based on that. Obviously, they weren't insects or anything like that, but he did actually prepare food in kind of the same way that Louis did, and it was actually quite good. But yeah. Again, I'm sorry about that. I didn't actually... I guess I wasn't paying attention. I'm half paying attention to the game. We have 10 seconds. I might as well just end the day. How's progress, Olimar? Remember, you'll never get anything done if you sit back and watch from afar. Press left or right. You're giving me tutorials too, President. Forgot they did that. I believe it was in the iridescent glint beetle. Louis mentioned selling the golden bug to start a cooking show and upgrade his kitchen. Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Yeah. I can agree with some of your sentiments concerning them changing his character in Pikmin 3, but the changes they made were understandable. As I said, they weren't retcons. You know what I mean? Like you can't say that they basically just turned Louis into something, because I feel like just like Olimar and Louis in Pikmin 2 in game, you don't really hear them say much besides their names in-game in Pikmin 2. In Pikmin 3 is kind of the same way. Louis and Olimar don't really say much in the main game, and I feel like when they write stuff down, that's when you really get to know their personalities. Louis hardly said a word in Pikmin 3. He said food a lot. But when he writes in Pikmin 3, which I think there's one data entry where there is actually... Yeah, so there's an unreleased video of Louis speaking, and I actually think that they didn't change him all that much. I don't know if you've seen that secret video, but it's an unreleased, like, data log, where it's like a video log, but instead of Olimar speaking, it's Louis speaking. And I actually thought that was pretty true to his character. I mean, somewhat. They didn't make him seem like a complete idiot. But anyway. Prototype detector. Today we searched a subterranean layer swarming with carnivorous bugs. The name Hole of Beasts immediately came to mind. The convenient contraption I found there has become an invaluable treasure-seeking tool. When it approaches a piece of treasure, the gadget beeps and the needle moves to the right. When all of the treasure in an area has been collected, the device powers down. When we left Hakatate, I thought we'd never be able to pay off the company's debts. But thanks to this gadget, I'm feeling optimistic about the outcome of this daring mission. The cave we searched today was lined with flame-spewing spouts. The temperature in the cave was absolutely stifling. Oh, that reminds me, I completely forgot to tell Louis about Red Pikmin. He's so quiet, I sometimes forgot he's even there. This item I salvaged from the cave seems to be some kind of storage device, but I have no way to play back the contents. This is a peculiar object. Just looking at it fills me with a powerful sense of nostalgia. Now that I think about it, the Pikmin had a curious look on their faces when they carried it, or maybe that was just my imagination. Computers view the world in ones and zeros, but my people are different. Our world isn't simply black or white, right or wrong, everybody's different. Maybe one day the ship will understand that. And maybe one day it won't give me sass when I ask it to collect a slimy specimen. Dream Architect. At night, I have nothing to do to keep me occupied. I've been searching for something to dull the boredom, but every time I find something I want to play with, it's broken. This object is a great example. It looks fascinating, but I can't get it to function. I guess all I have to do is write in this journal. Luck Wafer. What a strange pattern. When I look at it, I can feel good fortune smiling down on me. If I could just buy a lottery ticket right now, I'm sure I'd win. Sunseed Berry. I found this fascinating fruit while out exploring today. The skies cleared up, and I felt peaceful watching the pink flower petals flutter in the wind. During this perilous expedition, it seems strange to have such soft-hearted romantic thoughts. I told my wife about this. If I told my wife about this, I'm sure I'd get laughed at. Again. So there's an example of one of the times where he talks about, like, something his wife does that annoys him or whatever. But, yeah, that doesn't happen incredibly often. I'd say they boiled down his character to just one straight. It's true that his screen time is small in 3, but his actions of just booking at random juice was a little Oh, but yeah, basically just taking their juice and stealing yeah. Yeah, he was very pest-like in Pikmin 3. I feel like he should have had more to say and, I don't know, more explanation behind his actions, but hey, we know that at the end of Pikmin 3's true ending, they leave Louie back on PNF 404 again, so who knows. Pikmin 3, all in all for me, was satisfying in terms of its consistency. I can't say that it frustrated me with a lot of stuff. There was a couple things, but I think, all in all, I was actually very pleased with how they handled Pikmin 3's lore. Like, for example, I mean, like the Sunseed Berry, for example, things that were, like, fruits in Pikmin 2, they actually gave the same name when they were found in Pikmin 3. Just little details like that I thought were really nice. Remember he collected those treasure parts at the end of 2 without the Pikmin. I guess, I mean, in 2 they didn't make him seem that dumb. I really like 3, it's just the little things that aren't that big. Yeah. No, yeah, I totally see what you're saying. I totally see what you're saying. Sheargrub female. Jeez, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I know the Latin version of the Mandiblard is Mandibulosa, but Mandiblard family. The males of the species are purple and black creatures with tapered mouths, while the females are lighter in color and lack an armored exoskeleton. As with most Mandiblards, these creatures have regressed to the point where they have lost both legs and wings. They can be seen crawling around on the ground and are believed to feed on the vegetable extracts from the congealed fluids of expired Pikmin. So that's a little bit of dark stuff for you. The female sheargrubs basically live on the innards, the juices of dead Pikmin. Male sheargrub. The Mandiblard family. This specimen is a male sheargrub. Having lost both legs and wings, the male burrows into the soil and waits to ambush small creatures that pass by. This beast's mandibles can be dangerous, making creatures such as Pikmin easy prey. Cloaking Burrownet. The Burrownet family. The snake eye pattern on the beast's shell is one of the most distinctive features of the Burrownet family. The red pattern of the cloaking Burrownet and the spikes around its mantle make it easily identifiable while still making it a representative specimen of the Burrownet family. The shell on the cloaking Burrownet's back also provides a frame that fixes its muscular structure in place and appears to give the creature its powerful needle-launching attack. The Creeping Chrysanthemum. There we go. Chrysanthemum family. Like Pikmin, the Creeping Chrysanthemum is a member of a group of creatures with ambulatory root structures. This creature is known as a mimic, but because it is actually a form of plant, this label is not entirely accurate. For unknown reasons, the Creeping Chrysanthemum's mimicry does not fool Pikmin, perhaps because they share a similar heritage. It relies on preying upon other creatures to provide sustenance, so it has no need of leaves for photosynthesis. Generally speaking, the role of plants within an ecosystem is as a producer species, and thus plants are generally found at the bottom of the food pyramid. However, on this strange planet, the line between producer plants and consumer plants is blurred. See, what did I tell you, man? Biology is just imbued within every single one of Olimar's notes. Mittite. Mitivius infiltratus, a known family. These parasitic insects feed on eggs. Upon reaching maturity, they excrete a special pheromone that attracts females of particular species, enticing these females to swallow the Mittite's whole. Pikmin, however, seem to dislike the scent. After entering the host female's body, the mid-tights lay their own eggs inside the host's eggs just prior to the host spawning. So that's interesting. I actually would like to see a female mid-tight in a future game, unless they've already done something like that and I've just forgotten. Common glowcap. The light emitted from this rare mushroom is neither a reflection nor a release of stored light. It grows not only on decomposing trees but also on soil and rocks. This mushroom's fungal filaments are capable of stabilizing and concentrating pure Hockatadium 111. It is none other than the Hockatadium 111 approaching the point of critical mass that causes the glowcap's blue luminescence. Man, why didn't they have a Piclopedia in Pikmin 3? Whatever. This plant's delicate yellow flowers often inspire waves of nostalgia, giving a bittersweet feeling to any who gaze upon them. Horsetail. This variety of horsetail is prevalent in regions with low nutrient content in the soil. Unlike most other plants, this particular species propagates itself through the release of spores. So again, just normal plants. Empress Bullblacks. Initial observations place doubt on the capability of the grubdog family to support a strong ant or bee-like social structure, but recent studies show the family is capable of such complexity. The egg sac of the largest female grubdog within a given range swells to dramatic proportions in response to environmental changes, such as the sudden depletion of prey species. These females temporarily take on the role of pack matriarch. Also, in pack formation, it has been observed that nearly all males not involved in species reproduction undergo natural sex changes. The characteristics of such specimens are quite intriguing indeed. Alright, now that I've done my nerd splurge, I can continue. Should I go back here? Actually, I don't think I can even. I'll just go back. I'll just go into the wiki mode again. I just remembered Louis saying how eating the water wraith gave brain spasms, going on to say it was poisonous. A quip thought to be comedy may turn out to be lore. Cool. Yeah, so if you've never heard of the channel Daz Reviews, I highly, 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 highly recommend, if you're interested in Pikmin lore, look at his channel and look at the video that's called, I think it's called the Tale of the Umibozu, the Water Wraith or something like that. But anyway, look at his Water Wraith video that also goes into the lore of the Umibozu. Now, it's not stated whether or not the Water Wraith is the Umibozu of Japanese legend, but it is heavily, heavily, heavily implied that the Water Wraith is actually the Japanese water spirit, the Umibozu. And if you look at his exposition, it is quite old now, so there are some very odd parts about it that are just kind of like, huh, that's a little strange. Just on a quality level, the video is obviously very old, so don't expect it to be like the greatest video you've ever seen or something. But quality-wise, in terms of like story quality, in terms of how well he analyzes it, very, very good, very, very good explanation. Yeah, the Umibozu story is just fascinating, and as I said, that's one of the reasons why I actually think Pikmin 3's sort of lore bit, where they talk about how Louis actually consumes the Water Wraith, and how he basically says he exhibits symptoms of possession after eating the Water Wraith. Yeah, I do think that might actually be an intentional bit of lore that, you know, kind of made him go nuts in Pikmin 3. I'm here to watch you play. Welcome, Ridley. For those of you that are new, this is Ridley. He's the co-owner of the channel with me, so make him feel very welcome indeed. He actually made a cameo earlier in the stream, so same guy. What's his channel called? It's called Daz Reviews. D-A-Z-Z Reviews. okay. Biggest fall back to 3. There was Pikmin 1, then 2 was amped up to 100 with enemies, areas, and Pikmin. But 3 removes so much of that. I think Pikmin 2 might actually have more in it. Thank you, PR, for linking Daz's YouTube channel. Recently, he's been kind of a memester, so disregard his recent videos because they're not quite what he usually does. But he's the Pikmin guy. That's what everyone likes to call him. He's the Pikmin guy. Pikmin was my first GameCube game, and I got 2 right when it came out, so I've been with this series for a while. Yeah, Pikmin was actually my... Pikmin 1 was my second GameCube game. I've been with the series for quite a while, too. I know I got it in the first month it came out, but my first... I don't know if this timeline adds up or not, but I think my first Pikmin... my first GameCube game was Sonic Adventure, actually. I'm actually pretty sure that was my first one. Yeah, I agree with your statement on what Pikmin 3 kind of took away. Yeah, yeah, Pikmin 2 really ramped it up to 100, especially with the dungeons and just the sub-level system and all that sort of thing. Yeah, where was that? Why didn't that come back in Pikmin 3? That would have been really, really cool. You know, I think they might have tried to pass it off as like, oh, the mission mode is basically that in Pikmin 2. It's like, well, not really, because Pikmin 2 also had a mission mode. And it's not like the mission mode in Pikmin 3 links up with the main game in any way. It's just a side mode. It's not an actual part of the main game. No, but yeah, I completely agree. It was odd how they seemed to just remove so much content from Pikmin 3. Enemies and places. I mean, places-wise, I think actually, region-wise, I think Pikmin 3 did a pretty good job. Yeah, I think Pikmin 3 did a pretty good job with regions. But as far as like, content was concerned, yeah, I completely see what you're saying. They took out the whole system. They took out... They completely removed white Pikmin and purple Pikmin from the main story, although they are present in the challenge mode, I'll give them that. So they didn't completely forget about them. They took out white and purple Pikmin from the main game, which makes sense, actually, because purple and white Pikmin are subterranean Pikmin, and you never go underground in Pikmin 3, so I guess the lore adds up in that regard. But yeah. So the lore does kind of add up for why the purple and white Pikmin are not in 3. But yeah, the bosses are good too, the regions are good, the music, oh my gosh, the music is beautiful. The visuals are beautiful. But yeah, content-wise, they did kind of strip a lot of stuff from Pikmin 2, and yeah, no Piclopedia. There was a Fruitlopedia, which is like, why? I mean, it was interesting, I guess, because, you know, Brittany was a botanist, but she's not... Look, I don't want to be mean, okay? Don't think I'm sexist, but Brittany was not as smart as Olimar was. Like, intellectually speaking, she had much less interesting insight on fruit than Olimar had for the actual beasts of the Pikmin world. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Brittany didn't seem very adept. Like, even in her own school of study, she seemed kind of like... she's a student of botany, instead of being like Olimar, where he's like an expert explorer and biologist. Hold on, let me catch up with chat for a second. You know, I don't know how I'm subbed to you. I think I was in a Pikmin 1 stream you did like a year ago, and I just subbed, so I'm here now. Oh, well, good to have you back, man. We're starting to stream again regularly, so I hope we can see you more often. My dude, I got Pikmin 1 and Adventure DX when I first got my GameCube as well. My dude! That's awesome! Yeah, those are like the first 2 games I got on my GameCube. So that's cool. I really appreciate you. When I played Pikmin 2 for the first time, I was like 5 or 6. I felt daring or alerted because of the amount of responsibility I had in the game at such a young age. Yeah, I think that's why it resonated with me too. I was actually very surprised at the amount of, like, I don't know, like as a kid, it is kind of scary. Like it's kind of overwhelming actually. I would say overwhelming is probably the best way to describe it for me. Is that, like, I was just kind of overwhelmed at the amount of tasks that I had to complete. But yeah, I totally feel you there. The bosses are really good in 3, but the time limit being there as it's not underground hinders it a bit. When you're about to beat the boss, the day ends. Yeah, I agree, that was kind of a weird hindrance. Dr. Pepper! Drought Ender. I think they're going to keep the main games on a 5 Pikmin type limit. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, 5 Pikmin type limit. Okay, so only 5 different Pikmin types. I see what you're saying. So Pink and Rock were there in place of Purple and White because they're only going to start doing 5 total Pikmin types in the game, so as to keep management at a more simple level. I see what you're saying. No, dude, you do go underground somewhat in 3, caves in 1. Well, yes, okay. Fair enough. You do go into caves in Pikmin 3, but they're not pits. They're caves. Cave and subterranean, to me, mean 2 different things. Because remember, the only reason why the pellet, or not the pellet posies, the candy pot buds are able to grow is because of sort of the greenhouse effect of the subterranean environment. I'm not saying that couldn't work for caves, but I want to say that the explanation adds up in Pikmin 3. I want to say. No, I agree with you. You're right, she wasn't. Olimar had more of an intellectual insight. Yeah, right? Like, Brittany was just kind of... Like, it was cute. Like, I liked her character. She was cute. But she was definitely no Olimar. Like, she was no Olimar. That's for darn certain. I think the laptop I'm using to watch the chat is gonna die soon, but oh well. I'll just use my phone. Incredible, a white Pikmin. It's tiny, but it looks distinctively swift. Its eyes are an unseemly red. This type of Pikmin was not mentioned in your notes, Olimar. It must be an entirely new type. Our data record on this type is a blank page, since a certain captain never documented them. You must experiment and make detailed observations for the benefit of future generations. They cuted up the dialogue in 3. Now, I know, blasphemy, to nitpick at cuteness in Nintendo stuff. Not saying Pikmin is... sorry, one second. Or should be like Dark Souls tone, but still. Not saying Pikmin should be gritty gritness. Yeah, no, I agree. I see exactly what you're saying. Okay, so I'm actually working on a video about that exact topic right now. That topic being Dark Nintendo. The video is going to be called Dark Nintendo, as far as I know. So look out for that. But I'm not really going to talk too much about it now, just for the sake of you being able to watch the video about it later. But I'll just say this. In a recent interview with the director of the Splatoon 2 game, I forgot what his name was, but the director basically detailed Nintendo's usual process for making their worlds, their fictional worlds. And one of the things that he said that the Nintendo team constantly does is they actually do what they internally refer to as Dark Nintendo, which essentially means in order for this to be a realistic secondary fictional world, there needs to be some aspects of their created fictional worlds that are realistic, and real life sometimes is very dark. Real life can delve into very dark topics sometimes, and so in order to make their worlds believable, the Splatoon 2 director actually said that part of their construction process, or part of their creative process, is what they call Dark Nintendo, which is deliberately making things darker so as to give it that sort of realistic, believable flair, even though it's a fictional world. And so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Pikmin 3 seemed to kind of tone that down a little bit. But I actually didn't mind their use of Dark Nintendo in Pikmin 3 because of that final sequence, baby. Oh, man. That final boss. The implications that that final boss had. I think that made up for the lack of Dark Nintendo stuff in the rest of the game, is that final sequence was just so bizarre and so weird, and like, why are they calling it Wraith? Why is it so protective over Olimar? Like, what's going on? You could totally tell that they're building this sort of underlying story behind the Wraith, and you don't know what it is, but I'm excited to find out what's going on there. I guess I'm saying for the concept of Little Martian Man, Pikmin was really grounded character-wise. Yes, it was. I agree. Yeah, Olimar being a prisoner like that was pretty bogus. Yeah, I didn't understand it, but considering Olimar has been in some sticky situations before, I wouldn't actually say that it's an impossible occurrence. I don't think Olimar is, you know, like a Master Chief level badass or something like that. I just think that he's experienced. And the Water Wraith was one of the things that he said gave him particular trouble. Actually kind of freaked him out a little bit. Either way, I love it. Nintendo could use more Dark Nintendo. Oh, sorry. Are we on a big no spoiler chat, or are we all caps free? I've been kind of talking spoilers this entire time too, but I know our mod PR has never really played the Pikmin games. I think I don't remember his experience with Pikmin. But he's here right now, so try not to keep too many story-specific details about Pikmin 3. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking? What was that? That was weird. I thought I was holding white Pikmin. Anyway, just try to keep it on a minimum. You don't have to completely mute yourself or anything like that, but just try to keep it on like at a minimum. Exactly, Olimar is just a space trucker in his Middle Ages, right? Yeah, I would actually say that's a pretty accurate description of Olimar. I mean, if you wanted to be, I guess, kind of humorous about the description, yeah, I would say that that's pretty accurate. Of course, taking into account that space trucker in his Middle Ages is also an incredibly learned biologist, and very scientifically sound in terms of, you know, what... how he conducts observations and experiments and things like that. Only played the 3 demo, so less spoilery stuff is appreciated. Okay, fair enough. So let's try to keep the spoiler talk to a minimum. Just so that you feel better about what we have said so far, PR, we've actually just kind of referenced things that happened, but as far as you knowing specific narrative details in Pikmin 2 and 3, you really don't know much. As far as what we've said, there's some surprises in Pikmin 3 that we still haven't talked about, and there's some surprises in 2 that we haven't talked about as well. So don't think that we're completely ruining everything for you, because I think we have not, by far, we have actually not even scratched the surface of some of the cool stuff that's in the game. So don't worry. But yeah, we will be a little bit more cognizant now. Thanks. By the way, how are you doing, PR? I know we've been just kind of like... I know I've just been, like, non-stop since we started talking about, like, hey, Pikmin and Pikmin 2 and all that sort of thing. I hope you, sort of non-Pikmin fanatic, or at least not fanatics in the sense that I am, at least. I hope you guys aren't being too alienated by all this. That's the least that I want. I'd actually like to get you interested, rather than, I guess, off-put by all this. I got a little scared there. That's why I was... I actually, like, I hesitated when I was talking, because I forgot that the Snagrit actually pops up. We got him, though, didn't we? Oh, gosh. No. There we go. Whew, that was close. He's a freight ship pilot. No, yeah, I know. I got what you meant by that. Like, literally kind of like freight job, sort of. It's basically like a space version of UPS, as I had said earlier. Well done, Captain Almar. You defeated that freakish half-bird, half-serpent hybrid. Oh no, don't tell me. That treasure was ingested by that beast, wasn't it? I mean, you are playing a game about an alien. Yeah. Alienation is bound to happen when you play a game about an alien. No wonder Olimar is good at throwing things. It's because he's a UPS driver. Oh, that's so funny. You know what would have been more hilarious is if you said Amazon. Because I actually work at Amazon. Seam test conclusive, cross-stitching successful, the knapsack is complete. So do you think they made Lightning in 3 literally harmless because of the horror stories from 2? Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do. I think that was a complete response to them looking at Pikmin 2 and how ridiculously lethal Lightning was in that game, and saying like, let's let's tone it down a little bit. Yeah, and you know, lore-wise, I actually want to say that lightning, or electricity for that matter, shouldn't vaporize anything. It should really only, like, stun it. At least that's how other games work in terms of how they handle electricity. So I would assume that that's actually not that bad of a change. Just, like, scientifically speaking, lightning shouldn't be able to vaporize you completely and instantly, so it was a more realistic change, I would say. So, both a welcome gameplay change and a welcome, just, I guess, a touch of realism. Well, this is gonna take forever. I could try to put Pikmin on the top, but I think yellow Pikmin are the only ones. I mean, he may be a bit higher than something like a mailman, to be serious. I don't think golden food would be shipped on just first class. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely on a technical level, he is a little bit more adept in that. I mean, the Pikmin are like 1 inch tall, so the vaporizing thing is debatable. I guess so. I can see that. What are the chances do you think we can get a Pikmin trilogy on the Switch at some time? Because I've only ever watched you play these, and I played the co-op mode with you. Yeah. Oh, man. That gets me excited just thinking about it. You know, the only thing better than them making a true Pikmin 4 and actually bringing back a Piclopedia and making you play as Olimar again and doing all this crazy awesome stuff would be just re-releasing the old games on Switch as kind of a remaster trilogy. Like, oh my goodness. If they... Imagine this for a second. In the idealistic world, I would get Pikmin 1 and 2 bundled with Pikmin 3 in one cartridge, whilst Pikmin 1 and 2 are both brought up to the graphical fidelity that Pikmin 3 has. That is my pipe dream. And that's the thing, is that you kind of know what it feels like to have these sorts of, like, really, like, amazing hopes that just get you, like, so excited for, like, everything having to do with that franchise, but on a certain level, you feel like you don't want to get disappointed, so you try to temper your expectations in that regard. So I'm kind of right there right now. I would say that I'm gonna temper my expectations, but if we see Pikmin at all, it may come in the form of re-releases on the Switch, which I would love, or a completely new Pikmin game entirely. As I said, Pikmin needs to show up at E3. If it doesn't, I don't know when the heck they're gonna show more Pikmin stuff. I think Pikmin has a pretty darn good chance of showing up this E3. Whether or not that comes in the form of a new game or like a remastered trilogy, it's kind of weird because I actually think they have equal chances of actually showing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would actually say maybe just on the fact that these games have been out longer and they've had more time to consider remasters for the first two, I would say remasters for Pikmin 1 and 2 are actually more likely than actually seeing a new Pikmin game. But then there's the whole concept of like, oh yeah, Pikmin 3 was made recently, so they have all the assets at hand, which means that, oh, they could make 4 reusing some of those assets. So there's always that, but man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I feel like just seeing Pikmin would suffice at E3, just seeing it, just at all, in any form. But on a technical level, as I said, I want to say that either remaster or new game has just about the same amount of chance. But yeah, I'm tempering expectations. I don't want to be disappointed or anything like that, because I've been disappointed from the last E3 for no Animal Crossing and no Pikmin, so I don't know. We'll see. But I actually think there wouldn't... I actually think we have a pretty darn good chance of seeing something Pikmin-related. I think it'd be more gruesome if really realistic terms were used in Pikmin 2. Instead of lightning vaporizing the Pikmin, just like how mods get shocked by shock lanterns, they just lay there dead. One thing I really liked about 3 is the sort of immersion that comes from looking up and seeing all the captains going their own way, Pikmin going every which way with pieces. Yeah, that was a beautiful aspect of Pikmin 3. That was just excellent. Dude, the remake trilogy scene is big right now. It's got better chances than ever before for remakes. Yeah, I agree. As I said, I think it actually has slightly more of a chance than an actual real next game. Pikmin 2, with the Go Here function from Pikmin 3, yeah, that'd be awesome. If I had to pick one conference to stream, it would have to be Nintendo 4S. Yes, absolutely. Just seeing Pikmin? Hey, Pikmin 2 on Switch. Let's go. Super, super hype. Alright, Fair point, fair point. But also, I don't think it's super fair because I think we're all in agreement that, that a second Hey Pikmin, first of all, this soon, and second of all, on the Switch, is virtually impossible. I do not think that will happen in the slightest. I know you're just joking, but yeah, I don't. I'm very optimistic about Pikmin. Whoa! Sorry about that noise. That was my computer telling me to plug it in right now. But I'm gonna go now anyway. So yeah, so I'm gonna end the day, and then next time we'll go to the perplexing pool, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, I actually don't think I'm very optimistic. I don't think Hey Pikmin is going to be shown, like, in any capacity, or like, any sort of new Hey Pikmin game, or even Pikmin on the 3DS in general. I actually don't think we'll see anything regarding that. I think if we're going to see any Pikmin at all, it's going to be a real console Pikmin game. That's what I think. And that may sound too optimistic, but... Sorry it was so late. Nah, don't worry, man. Stuff happens. My Pikmin 4, all creatures used plus new, all Pikmin types used and new areas and nice music. I think you're speaking for all of us there, Zaid. You're speaking for all of us. Olimar, good work so far. I hereby promote you to Perennial Manager. Okay. Alright, so we've just unlocked the perplexing pool now. So we'll look at the Piclopedia entries that we haven't looked at yet next time. And then we'll look at the treasure pieces that we haven't looked at next time, as well as starting, as I said, the perplexing pool. But I think I'll leave it off there for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I hope to see you in the next one. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? I've lost my train of thought. Tomorrow is Friday. And as far as I know... Ridley is going to be streaming at the same time tomorrow, so look out for that. Ridley streams are always some very wonderful experiences, but if you want to look at the stream schedule and which games we're playing, visit our Twitter. It's twitter.com/sarcasmusman, I believe. But yeah. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm not going to do that. And just have a great day. Just all of you have a fantastic, wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.